Have you ever looked at the world and felt like you were witnessing a cosmic joke? A cruel, silent bet made at your expense? You see them everywhere. The good people, the ones who give without asking, the ones who absorb the pain of others, who turn the other cheek until their face is bruised beyond recognition. They are the pillars of their families, the silent shoulders for their friends, the ones who believe in fairness, in karma, in the simple, almost childlike idea that virtue will be its own reward. And what do they get? Betrayal, hardship, a loneliness so profound it echoes in an empty home. They are overlooked, taken for granted, and crushed by the very world they try so hard to hold together. You've watched it happen. Maybe you've held the hand of a good person as they faded away, wondering why their kindness couldn't shield them. Or maybe you don't have to look that far. Maybe you just have to look in the mirror. You've followed the rules. You've been patient. You've been good. And now you're here in the dark, nursing a wound you can't explain, asking a question that has no answer. Why? Why does it hurt so much to do the right thing? Why do the best people seem to suffer the most? The universe remains silent, but the silence isn't empty, it's a challenge. And for centuries, one philosopher stared into that same silence, into that same abyss, and he wasn't afraid of what stared back. Tonight, we don't just ask the question, we drag it into the light. And with Friedrich Nietzsche as our guide, we explore the terrifying, liberating truth you were never meant to understand. To understand this, you must first forget the Nietzsche you think you know. He was not a nihilist who believed in nothing. He was a physician of the soul, a man who diagnosed the sickness of an entire civilization. He saw a world of people who were taught to be small, to be tame, to apologize for their own existence. He famously said, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." But this wasn't a cry of despair. It was a declaration of war. Nietzsche didn't see suffering as a punishment. He saw it as a tool, an instrument, the chisel that a sculptor uses to carve a masterpiece from a formless block of stone. For him, a life without hardship was a life without meaning, a smooth, uncarved rock, forgotten in a field. He believed humanity's ultimate drive was not for pleasure, not for happiness, and certainly not for goodness. It was for power, not power over others, but power over oneself, the will to power. The unending, primal urge to grow, to overcome, to expand, to face resistance and become stronger for it. So when Nietzsche looks at a good person suffering, he doesn't see an injustice. He sees something far more tragic. He sees potential being squandered. He sees a lion that has been taught to believe it is a lamb. The suffering you feel isn't the universe punishing you for your virtue. It is the cry of the lion within you, rattling the bars of a cage you were told was a sanctuary. Your pain is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are on the verge of doing something profoundly right. It is the friction that precedes a fire, the tension on a bowstring just before the arrow is released. Your suffering is a sacred invitation, an invitation to become who you truly are. But to understand why this cage was built, we have to go back. We have to perform what Nietzsche called a genealogy of morals. We must ask a dangerous question. Where did our idea of good even come from? Nietzsche argues that for centuries there were two kinds of morality. First, there was master morality, the morality of the noble, the strong, the rulers. For them, good was a self-affirmation. Good was power, pride, courage, passion, and a life lived on one's own terms. Bad was anything weak, timid, or pathetic. But then there were the slaves, the oppressed, the downtrodden, the suffering. They were not strong, not proud, not powerful. They couldn't win on the master's terms. So they did something ingenious. They performed what Nietzsche called a transvaluation of values, a spiritual revenge. They took everything the masters valued, pride, strength, power, and called it evil. And they took everything that defined their own condition, humility, pity, meekness, turning the other cheek, and called it good. This is the morality we have inherited. It is the morality of the herd. You suffer because you are a good student of it. You learn to be humble. You learn that self-sacrifice is the ultimate virtue. You learn to suppress your own desires, to put others first, to feel guilty for wanting more, for wanting to be powerful. Think about it. The good person, who is always there for everyone but has no one for themselves. The employee who works tirelessly for a promotion that goes to someone more assertive, more selfish. The partner who gives everything in a relationship and is left with nothing. This isn't a cosmic accident, it is the logical conclusion of a system of values that was designed by the weak, for the weak, to make weakness feel like a strength. The root of your pain is this: you are trying to live a powerful, noble life, while worshipping at the altar of a morality that despises power itself. And here is the grand illusion, the lie that society whispers to you from the moment you are born. The lie is that your goodness, this meek, self-denying goodness, will be rewarded, that if you just stay small, stay quiet, and keep giving, someone, somewhere, God, the universe, society, will notice and pay you back. You are told to wait for a prize that will never arrive. This illusion is not an accident. It is a mechanism of control. A society built on herd morality needs its people to be predictable, docile, and manageable. It needs you to believe that your compliance is a virtue. It doesn't want lions who create their own paths. It wants sheep who follow the flock, even if the path leads off a cliff. So it sells you this poison disguised as medicine. It tells you that ambition is greed. That self-love is narcissism. That righteous anger is a sin. You are trapped in a self-perpetuating cycle. You feel pain because your inner nature, your will to power, is being suffocated. In response, you are told to be more good, more giving, more selfless, which only suffocates you further. You double down on the very strategy that is causing your suffering. You become the prisoner who mistakes the bars of his cell for a lifeline. You believe that if you just shrink a little more, you'll finally be happy. But you're not meant to shrink. You are meant to expand until the walls of your prison crumble into dust. The truth is, the world doesn't reward the good people. It consumes them. It runs on their energy, their sacrifice, their silent, uncomplaining pain, and it will keep taking until there is nothing left. This is where Nietzsche hands you the hammer. He called it his philosophical hammer, and he used it to tap on the hollow idols of his time. The idol of unselfishness, the idol of pity, and the biggest idol of all, the belief that suffering is something to be avoided. The raw philosophical truth is this: life is not about seeking comfort. It is about seeking challenges that force you to grow. Suffering is not a detour from the path. It is the path. The good person suffers because they are perpetually trying to escape this fundamental reality. They seek a life of peace, of no conflict, of gentle harmony. But life is conflict. Life is tension. Life is the will to power striving to overcome resistance. A muscle only grows when it is torn. A diamond is only formed under immense pressure. A human soul is only forged in the fires of adversity. This is where Nietzsche introduces his most famous and misunderstood concept, the Übermensch, or the Overman. The Overman is not a tyrant or a dictator. The Overman is the human being who has overcome himself. He has broken free from the herd morality. He has stopped looking to the heavens or to society for a list of rules. He creates his own values. When he suffers, he doesn't ask, "Why me?" He asks, "What can I build from this? How can this pain make me stronger, deeper, more alive?" He doesn't just tolerate his fate. He loves it. Amor fati. He sees every obstacle, every betrayal, every moment of pain, not as a curse, but as a necessary ingredient for his own becoming. Your suffering isn't a sign of your failure. It is the raw material for your greatest creation, yourself. To hear this truth is one thing. To accept it is another. And this is where the real battle begins. It is fought not in the world, but inside of you. A civil war rages in your soul. The moment you realize your goodness may have been a gilded cage, everything becomes unstable. One part of you, the old you, the good you, is terrified. It screams that this is selfish, it's arrogant, it's evil. It pulls you back toward the comfort of the familiar, the safety of the herd. It reminds you of the guilt you will feel, the people you might disappoint by finally choosing yourself. This is the voice of your conditioning, the ghost of a morality designed to keep you small. But another part of you, a deeper, older voice, begins to awaken. It is the voice of the lion, the artist, the sovereign individual. It feels the exhilarating, terrifying freedom in Nietzsche's words. It recognizes the truth in the pain. This voice doesn't want to be safe. It wants to be alive. It doesn't want to be liked. It wants to be respected, starting with self-respect. It doesn't want to avoid suffering. It wants to give that suffering a purpose. This conflict is the crucible. The pain will intensify. You will feel lost, alienated, caught between two worlds. You will look at your old life, your old self, and it will feel like a lie, but you will look forward into the unknown, and you will feel an equal measure of terror and hope. This is the point of no return. Most people retreat here. They choose the familiar pain over the unknown chaos of transformation, but for those who endure, this is the breakdown that precedes the breakthrough. It is the tearing down of the old temple to make room for something sacred to be built in its place. How then do you rebuild? How do you use this terrifying freedom? The first step is amor fati, the love of your fate. You must look back at every scar, every betrayal, every moment of suffering that brought you to your knees, and you must say, thank you. You were my greatest teachers. You were the pressure that created the diamond. You stop being a victim of your past and become the creator of your future, using the past as your raw material. Next, you must abandon the external scoreboard. Stop seeking validation from others. The only approval you need is your own. This means creating your own table of values. What is good for you? Is it courage? Is it creativity? Is it unapologetic honesty? Is it the pursuit of knowledge? Is it the building of a powerful mind and a resilient body? You define the virtues that serve your life, that affirm your will, that make you stronger. This is not a license for cruelty. It is a demand for what Nietzsche called sacred selfishness. The selfishness of a flowering tree that takes water and sunlight, not to deprive other plants but to grow and produce fruit. You must become the highest, most powerful version of yourself, not to dominate others, but so you have something of true value to offer the world. Your realized self. Stop turning the other cheek and start building a fortress for your soul. Seek the challenges that expand you, not the comforts that shrink you. Your reconstruction is not about becoming a bad person. It is about transcending the simplistic, suffocating definitions of good and bad altogether. It is about becoming a force of nature. So we return to the silence, to the question that brought you here. Why do good people suffer the most? And now you know the answer. They suffer because their goodness is a beautiful, tragic rebellion against the very nature of life. They suffer because they are living by a code that demands their diminishment in a universe that demands their growth. They suffer because they are a bowstring pulled taut, holding an immense potential energy that is mistaken for pain. The reward for your goodness was never going to be happiness. It was never going to be fairness. The true reward for being a good person was always something far more profound. It was the potential for greatness. Your deep sensitivity, your capacity to feel pain so acutely, is not a weakness. It is a sign of a profound soul, a soul that is ready for a heavier task than mere contentment. The suffering is a calling, a desperate, sacred alarm bell rung by life itself, begging you to wake up and stop being just good. It is begging you to become who you were always meant to be. The pain doesn't stop when you become strong. It transforms, it becomes fuel, it becomes art, it becomes wisdom, it becomes the proof that you have truly lived. So I ask you, now that you know the truth about the gentle cage you've been living in, will you continue to polish its bars, or will you find the courage to break them? And what magnificent, terrifying, beautiful thing will you build with the pieces? If this video touched something inside you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Comment below what made you think the most. We'll see you in the next video.